A selfless act by two Paradise Valley teenagers is raising thousands of dollars for cancer research and support programs. Ryan Gilchrist and his best friend Rylan Mauws were sporting hockey mullets but shaved their heads in support of a family member who was recently diagnosed with cancer. 14-year-old Ryan Gilchrist and 17-year-old Rylan Mauws are your typical teenagers. They enjoy sports and spending time outdoors. Now, these best friends also share a special bond. This is a before picture Ryan and Rylan with Ryan's uncle Steve. Now, Steve was recently diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. When the boys found out hair loss was one of the side effects of the disease, they decided to do something about it. They shaved their heads.
I'm pretty close with my uncle, so I didn't want him to be alone and feel left kind of out of place with no hair. So I thought I'd do it with him.
He just asked me, and I've grown really close with the family and stuff, so I was all for it when he said that he was, and didn't want him to do it alone.
Not only did the boys shave their heads, but they did it in front of their entire school a couple of weeks ago. And just like that, they went from having hockey flows to shaved heads.
But it was going through your head. What were you feeling when you sat down in the chair and all of a sudden that razor was getting really close?
I was about ready to cry.
I was really shocked because we've been trying to get him to trim his hair or cut his hair, and he would not go for it. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, he just decided he was doing it.
In less than a month, Paradise Valley residents have raised more than $12,000 for the Alberta Cancer Foundation. All money raised gets divvied up between 17 centres, including one in the border city. As for the uncle's reaction to the head shave,
He was pretty emotional, and I think he was pretty proud of us and probably happy that we were doing it. And I think he was amazed at how much money we had raised.
While the new dues may take some time to get used to, the boys know it was worth it in the long run. Now, anyone looking to donate can do so at the ATB in Paradise Valley, or you can call Michelle at 780-745-2586. Well, there's just a day left in 2012, and many are getting ready to set some new goals for the new year. Resolutions vary amongst the masses, but most popular are quitting smoking, saving more while spending less, and of course, eating healthier and getting fit. Here's what a few border city residents said about their New Year's resolutions.
Way of living and take care of the family and not too much of material things.
I think about it, but don't really make them.
I'm going to try and quit smoking again.
How many times have you had tried that before?
Too many.
Yeah, of course the old one. I'm going to try and lose weight again this year.
I think maybe I'm not going to look for a barber shop in the near future. It's going to stay cold all winter. I'm going to keep looking like this.
And if you're still looking for the perfect place to ring in 2013, here are a few events going on around the region. You can dance to the tunes of Country Swing at the Legacy Centre in Lloydminster starting at 7:30, or you can head down to the Moose Lodge for a New Year's dance. They'll have Name That Tune and a DJ helping ring in the new year until 2 a.m. And if you live inside city limits, they'll even give you a ride home. And the Legion Hall in Frenchman Butte is holding a New Year's bash for the whole family. At Vermilion Senior Centre, you can two-step your way into the new year. There's going to be entertainment, including live music by the Vegreville Country Kings. And those near Wainwright could head down to the Elks Hall for music by LMT Express and Beef on a Bun at midnight. Lloydminster is a city built on agriculture and energy, and being part of Canada's two strongest provincial economies has led to an economic boom. Kelsey Bloxham sat down with Ward Reed, a local expert on economic growth, looking back on the past year.
Lloydminster has seen tremendous growth over the past year, and I'm joined now by Ward Reed, the CEO of the Lloydminster Economic Development Corporation. Thanks so much for joining me.
You bet, thank you.
Now, over the past year, we've seen so much growth. What are the biggest areas that we've seen that in?
Well, the single sector that is an obvious one to see visually is the construction sector. Well, that's because of our overall strength that we're having this investment in building schools and building property. And this year in 2012, we'll see more homes, more dwellings built than any year in Lloydminster's history.
And what does that mean for us?
Well, that's an important thing. We know how tight the labor market is here in the city. And the more housing we have, the more people we can have in the city. and that just spells good things for our existing businesses and ones that may hope to locate here in the future.
And what are some of the areas that we need to work on in order to continue that growth?
Yeah, well, that in itself, that mention of labor market and housing is kind of the big piece. You know, we might have some existing companies that would expand their operations, or some others that might come if it was a little bit easier to find staff. And of course, it's easier to find staff when they've got somewhere to live. So those would be, I would think, probably the two, bigger barriers for our future growth.
And what are, if you could describe the year it's been in Lloydminster, how would you describe it?
It's been a good year. I mean, as I've said, great construction activity, but we've seen a lot of, other important things happen that will help shape the city for years to come. We've seen efforts around some things like zoning bylaws and municipal development plans that, they're intangible, but it helps shape how we develop and where we develop for the next 20 or 30 years. So it's nothing I can hold up other than a plan, but what it means is we've got a concept of how we move forward for years to come.
And the city will be implementing the new charter this coming January. What do you see what impact will that have on Lloydminster's growth?
Well, it just makes things, I think, easier for everybody. I mean, the charter spells out how we operate within this bi-provincial framework with two sort of regulatory operations. And so I think it just makes it easier for our council and administration, our school divisions, the health district and so on, and just us in our everyday lives of what things we can do and how we can do them. So I believe with this update of the charter, we just know better what we can do and how to get away with it.
And what were some of the big accomplishments for you guys at the Development Corporation over the past year?
Yeah, well, it was an interesting year because we are still a fairly new organization. We're under 2 years old in this framework, and so we have been kind of getting up to speed. And it sounds like a funny accomplishment, but we've got our staff team in place. We've built and actually just yesterday at our board meeting adopted a strategy, so we know where we're going, how we're going to prioritize our activities as far as pursuing additional and increased event activity, event tourism, and working to expand labor market growth. The big thing, though, that I want to continue to mention is our Earn Breakfast Network, which we actually hosted this morning. We continue to get strong numbers out, so we encourage everyone to join us.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me. That was Ward Reid, the CEO of the Lloydminster Economic Development Corporation.
Our Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce has had a busy year with several new initiatives. Elise Cox sat down with the Chamber's president to find out exactly how these new projects have benefited the organization and, in turn, our community.
I'm joined here with the president of the Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce, Leanna Ross. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now we'll get things on a roll here. There have been a lot of new projects that you guys have been working on. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about some of them.
Well, as far as new projects go, we've been concentrating on our health initiative, which is we've been involved in a couple different things. We hosted the College of Physicians and Surgeons in October for a get-together where we could talk with the school divisions and the Lloydminster Leaders Group, the health professionals, and just get everybody in a room and get a dialogue going about healthcare in Lloydminster and the special challenges that we have being a border city.
Very interesting. So you guys have a lot of new health initiatives then that you're getting involved with. You guys have also had some really successful campaigns this year. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about those as well and why they're so important to our city.
Well, we've always got new things on the go. One thing that we have done recently is our cash mob. Just this month we got together with downtown businesses and featured a few of them to get people exposed to some businesses that maybe they hadn't been in before and to know what great businesses we do have here in Lloydminster.
And so that kind of touches on your guys' Think Local initiative is what you guys call it, right?
Yes, our Think Local initiative is something new that we're trying to get everybody in Lloydminster to just really think about. Instead of spending your money elsewhere, spend it here first. We might have things locally that you won't even realize that we do. Instead of going to the city or online, you might be able to get it even at a better deal or something a little more unique than you might find somewhere else.
And so part of your guys' role at the Chamber is to keep residents in Lloydminster.
Well, yes, and keep our businesses here flourishing, keep them with fresh new customers, and keep our economy vitalized here locally.
And keeping on the topic of growth, I mean, you guys have seen a lot of new businesses register with you guys. How are you guys doing with the number of businesses that you guys have right now?
We are 600 members strong, and we have a lot of involved, interested businesses who want to be part of the Chamber because of the benefits that we can offer them. We have monthly Chamber Connects where you can get out and feature your business and meet other business owners as well as customers. And that sort of stuff just keeps you in touch with who you need to be.
And our last question here, what are some of the things that we can look forward to from the Chamber in the coming calendar year?
Oh boy, every year we have our Chamber Connects that we do locally. We also have an annual golf tournament, and we have the very successful Christmas Expo, which we just wrapped up in November, and it was a huge success. We had, I don't know how many people through the door, but lots of people come to that, and it's a great way to have a really good sale before Christmas.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Leanna. That was Leanna Ross, the president with the Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce.